Hello, everyone, and welcome to our bi-weekly Nerdletter Talk conversation. As usual, it's me, Elena Perfileva, and my partner, Paul Moderman. We are talking about the stories for the upcoming issue of the Boring Enterprise Nerdletter. So if you want to see the result of this conversation, please subscribe to the newsletter. You will find the link in the description. But right now, this is exclusive preview for our YouTube subscribers of secret conversation of masters, masterpieces, etc., etc. So, Paul, if that's okay with you, if you're ready to share your upcoming plans,
Yes.
please take us away.
Okay. I noticed
Sweet.
so the first thing is I noticed this go by on LinkedIn. Um, and I want to give a shout out to the team maintaining it, but I also want to show and talk about it a little bit. There's a generator out there for SAP UI5 projects out there. And it's been around for a little while. The thing that really makes me want to sing the praises of people from the rooftops is that these massive, massive is probably the wrong word, these capable but large frameworks that are out there in the world. It's like the more capable your framework is, the harder it is to just hello world, right? Like if you're going to go from scratch on some kind of UI5 thing or React or Angular or whatever, doing hello world, the easiest way to do that these days is just copy an existing project. Like if you asked me to create one of those things from just scratch, I would not know what files, settings, etc. to do. I wouldn't be able to do it. So the people who take the time to set up the generators, the scratch projects, all that kind of stuff, that that community investment is priceless, priceless for people
Yeah.
who do things with these things. Because without that, so many people who either are new or just want to do an experiment on something, right? You would be stuck for a day and a half trying to wrangle a manifest.json file that just utterly destroys your brain unless you have these things doing it for you. So shout out to these guys. I'm going to talk about it, show it, and give them my undying love and affection for work on this stuff.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other thing I'm going to do or talk about or think about or write about or all the above is I keep hearing about Gen AI Hub and SAP AI Core, and I do lots of projects these days, directly inside Gen AI stuff, not in Gen AI Hub and SAP, just general purpose generative AI doing either SAP things or not SAP things. And what I'm having trouble understanding, and when I say that, I don't mean that I think there's no answer. I just mean that I don't have the answer yet, is why would I pick SAP Gen AI Hub to
Yeah.
do what I'm trying to do,
Mm.
right? And anybody Christian Klein, if you're listening, I'm not trying to say that it's not worth it. Maybe it is. I just can't grok
Yeah.
why would I do this when I have
Mm.
when the example I think really is the most important piece of that stuff is right here, remote
Mm.
foundation models.
Mm.
That's the thing with all the brains. And that is not SAP's technology. That's just a
Yeah.
bridge out to
Yeah.
OpenAI, Anthropic, or pick your other thing, right? Open source models or whatever.
Yeah.
So I genuinely want to know, what is the rest of this stuff giving me that I couldn't accomplish a different way for probably cheaper, I imagine, right? Or just what's the skill investment balance between here, going through the SAP Gen AI Hub tunnel, right? Or going through the Azure tunnel or the AWS Bedrock tunnel
Mm.
or the whatever tunnel, right?
Mm.
Why should my enterprise choose this tunnel for a technology that's just it's sort of
Yeah.
spreading like a virus through various things. And I mean, and like a virus, it's gonna kill some people and other people it's not gonna kill. You know what I mean? And like some things it's gonna do awesome things, and other things it's gonna be a total mismatch for the use case. But like if I want to experiment with things and work quickly to figure out whether Gen AI is the right thing to do what I'm trying to do, that to me, that is like completely orthogonal to the world of SAP, right? Like SAP has never felt like I'm going to experiment here and figure it out, right? That's just not what it's made
Yeah.
for, right? That's not what the whole ERP thing is all about, right? So it's really I'm just I don't want to give up because like SAP is like comfort food for me, right? It's like it's home. It's where my heart is. But I want to understand WTF, guys. Like
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure that I'll be able to figure it out in the span of one like
Well, maybe that's
nerd
a
article.
story.
Yeah,
Even Paul couldn't
like
figure it out. What hope is there for the rest of us? So someone in the marketing department should get a kick, I think, for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or someone in the marketing department will reach out and say, "Hey, why stop doing this?" Yeah.
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 Anyway, so that's what that's what I'm plotting for this upcoming issue of those things. So I hereby relinquish the screen share
Awesome.
to Yelena.
Sweet.
Fresh off the tails of a trip to Europe, Yelena.
Fresh off, yes. All right, so let's see. Okay. All right, so I have my three stories and actually one bonus story, which I don't
Nice.
know, Paul, if you want to even pick that one up because that's one right up your alley. It's about AI,
Mm.
but okay. So no spoilers, guys. So first one, I saw this article posted by Tobias Hoffman. He always has really great posts on his own
I
blog.
love
It's full of
I love his
stars.
writing. Yeah.
Always always
Always
controversial.
good.
Yeah, but in this case, so I mean, title is obvious, key takeaways from the recent conferences,
Hmm.
recap and UI5, but I don't really want to write about the conferences. What I picked up from his post here is actually, I think it's a very bottom here. So let's just see. So it's kind of, yeah, the very basement of his story, but I think it is something that's just not really pointed at enough. And it's, even though it's kind of obvious, but I still think it doesn't get enough attention. So Fury elements, it's kind of unusual subject for me to pick because I'm not really UI person, but
Hmm.
that's, I think, exactly why it is good
Yeah.
subject for me to talk
Yeah.
about, because
Hmm.
Fury elements is maybe something like the good old SAP query or ABAP query. However, it got renamed
Yeah.
many times, like SQ01, where you can use simple tools to quickly build some kind of front end and some simple, I don't know, transaction report, whatever,
Hmm.
for your users without knowing much about front end, without investing much into that part, because the main part is really just the backend
Yeah.
functionality in that
Yeah.
case, and data, etc. So I hear a lot of great things about Fiori elements. Um, Controversially, for me, working for the company that kind of specializes in custom UI, it would seem like it's almost like it's going to take our jobs, but I
Hmm.
don't really think so, because
Hmm.
it is also important at the same time not to confuse these different use cases. If you
Yeah.
really feel that it's something simple that Fiori elements can handle, please go for it. There is
It's
no,
it's
yeah.
definitely something where like because I'm kind of on like I don't I'm on the sidecar of a really big SAP project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing the SAP build of it, but I'm
Yeah.
doing some other stuff with it.
Yeah.
And when I hear about the designs that people are working on,
Mm-hmm.
they still use the term RICEFs around here for this stuff.
Of course.
Um,
Of course.
like
Yeah.
it's like Fury Elements is the default
Yeah.
UI for what they do.
Yeah.
And you have to go fight like 10 grizzly bears if you
Yeah.
want to do like
Yeah.
custom UI5 thing.
Yeah.
They call it freestyle here.
Mm-hmm.
Like like it's a battle, right?
Yeah.
And when I have seen people showing off their builds or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
like, yep, and I did a rep thing, and there's my Fury Elements thing. I'm like, you know, you've come a long way, baby. It's pretty
Yeah.
good, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be kind of a battle, but it's important to understand the limitations and what you can
Yeah,
and cannot get with it. And the sooner you know that, the better you will be. But I think
yeah,
even if you don't know anything from the beginning, if you go with Fiori elements first, assuming that's going to handle it, there is still not much effort again invested.
yeah.
So if later
It's
on
a
it
good
turns
bet.
out it's not enough, well, I mean, you tried,
Yeah,
so not
yeah.
a big deal.
It's a
This
really good bet.
yeah, the same thing happened with, again, previous functionality. Sometimes you start with it, but then you realize, no, you need more.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, all you lost is just a few hours of work,
Yeah,
so not really a
yeah.
huge deal. So I think this is really important, and you see Sapphire ASAC presentation. So people are talking about it. I will talk about this
Mhm.
once again and share some resources, because just recently we set up learning guide for our developers at work, and I think it's fair to share what we have there. It's all
Mm,
public
mm.
information anyway. So second is kind of a, I don't know, thought
Oh my
leadership
God.
piece. So it is in general about technology, and what prompted this was a conversation I had in Europe with one of friends from former SAP community.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's funny kind of pre-story to this, which is
Mhm.
not going to be in the newsletter because it's just too long. So Simone is one of the SCN, SDN before that members who we've known each other for a very long time digitally, like online, chatted a lot, and I happened to be have like a layover at the airport exactly in the small town where he lives. So since the stars aligned, of course, we made
Yeah.
arrangements to meet for dinner with my family and him and his girlfriend, and we just had lovely dinner and conversations that eventually turned into SAP and ERP and all this
Hmm,
world. So
hmm,
Simone works; he's a SAP professional, just like us. His girlfriend is in a kind of financial compliance field. So she may not know all the details about SAP, but she's dealing with SAP and other ERPs and all the different sources
hmm,
of information. So one of the things that came out was, of course, Fiori, how everyone either loves or hates Fiori,
hmm.
and how everyone loves Excel. So
Hmm,
we started with Excel, how
hmm.
everything eventually ends up in Excel, and she was talking about how one of their tasks here to get some data from different systems, but then they need to consolidate it, maybe massage a little bit, and then present something that kind of sits on top of all the different organizations. And
Hmm.
of course, there is no easy way for them to do that with anything that's available in all the other ERPs. They have to do it in Excel.
Yeah.
And one of the points that came up is, so we have so much technology, we have all this ERP, we have Fiori in SAP, and we have other UI, and I mean, technology made amazing progress, but in many cases it's just not useful. Sometimes it's not made useful, and if
Hmm.
it's not useful for people, it's like it might as well just not exist. So that's kind of, I think, the main point of what I want to kind of thought
Hmm.
around and share maybe some observations. And what I did was just a just a basic Google search for around this subject, and this was one of the posts that came out. It's actually not exactly the around the subject that I want to talk about, but I like the point that technology is good, but humans are more important. And here it's also very, very short post where the author talks about how even after technology fails, like you have a booking problem or like wrong charge, you have to go and call someone, and humans need to sort out systems mistakes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've run into this a lot as well. So yeah, I just thought I would share this post. It's really
That's,
interesting. Yeah.
what's great is it made me
Mhm.
smile internally and probably externally too, is that
Yeah.
that picture is from the movie Ex Machina.
Yeah, Ex Machina, yeah.
I mean, within the last 4 days,
Mm,
I watched that movie and
mm.
recorded a podcast about it with
Oh.
my sci-fi buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
like I was like, whoa, look at that. It's coming
Yeah.
right back to haunt me in the same
Yeah.
moment. That's really cool.
Yeah, that movie was was quite something.
It's a trip.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and second post, again, result of random Google search, but I
Mhm.
thought that was interesting. So Pew Research Center, which is pretty significant, I think tank or something, but they're about
Yeah.
like politics and environment, etc. But they do have this observation again, tech is just a tool. I think, yeah, there are some interesting thoughts here from many, they're quoting many people, researchers, so really serious and important people who talk about technology and humans. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to poke around and see if I can, yeah, what other thoughts and observations I can find around this. All right, and the third story will be about basically why is this so freaking difficult to find simple things in SAP?
Yeah, I
So
know.
what prompted this one? I saw a random post on, I think it was on Reddit, SAP sub. So person who was clearly just a business user, they were asking, my boss is asking me to find a list of all the business partners, which is BP in SAP, that have posting blog. My first reaction is like, this should be like elementary, Watson, right?
Yeah.
It should be common
Should
functionality.
be. Should be.
I'm kind of I have not worked as much with functional side in S4 because BP became kind of the thing in S4. In previously in ECC it was separately vendors and customers,
Yeah.
but there were reports always for like
All
give
over
me a
the
list of
place. Yeah.
customers, give me a list of vendors. They were there, so you could they weren't easy to find, but usually you would just Google it and you would find at least something.
Yep.
So in this case, I'm like, well, let me help this poor soul and let me just Google it, and that opened the universe of crap, essentially. So, and I think it's not just problem with searching things about SAP, but I'm also really worried that it's gonna just get really worse very soon. And I'm not sure if anyone, even at SAP, kind of thinking about it, and customers should also, I think about it as well, because how to do things in SAP, how to find things, that should be much easier than that. So what I started with, I'm not going, I'm not gonna go down like the full rabbit hole, but I just want to show, and I'm probably gonna actually have like video on this separately, if anyone wants to go down the rabbit hole with me. But this is just the top problems when trying to search for this. So first of all,
Yeah.
in S/4HANA, you either use SAP GUI. Many people still use SAP GUI for whatever reason,
Yeah.
or use Fiori. The
Yep.
Fiori has its own problem with search, I think. The main problem there is if you don't have authorization for something, you don't know it exists. So maybe app is there, but you don't have access, so you cannot even find it. To find that, you need to request it. That is, I think, kind of a challenge in Fiori. I'm curious
Huge.
if anyone,
Huge
yeah,
challenge.
if anyone has any thoughts on this. Then let's say we're talking about SAP GUI. So how do I find this? So random Google search, this solved business partner list for Prince. This is garbage. This is very old post, and you don't see dates here, unfortunately. If you open it, first of all, this is SAP Business One.
Yeah.
You will never know it because after migration, SAP community is just totally messed up. Everything lost the structure, so it's a huge pile of crap now. It's very difficult to find stuff. Old posts are coming up in Google search, lots of irrelevant stuff. People also ask more garbage, find SAP partners. So this is nothing at all to do with BP functionality.
Completely
These are
different.
literally SAP partners. Then this is 2005, High
Man,
Experts, CRM, nice.
this stuff is part of, like, I did something a couple issues ago with like the snake eating its own tail,
Yeah.
Ouroboros thing.
Yeah.
like you, I mean, I was like, maybe that's gonna happen in the future. No, it, like, the snake
Yeah.
is already eating its own tail,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you unless you have amazing access to like Jewel, that's all hooked up to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
documentation
Yeah. Hotels, the right
rank, right?
places.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll see. Like, your ability to get knowledge out in the world is just
Yeah.
gonna evaporate. It's gonna Thanos snap away to nothing, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, and as you see more stuff like more CRM, more okay, solved, but I can see this is business one, clearly.
Yeah.
Like from here, the business user will not know this. They will not know that there are different SAPs. People just don't know that. Then I saw this post and like, oh my gosh, finally, like SAP Press has something. But unfortunately, this is like transactions to maintain. And this is from the book author, but there is no list of business partners. Now I'm thinking, is this really the problem that there is no list of business partners? That's just insane. Like, how can this be? This is something everyone will need. This is just incredible. And then there's like tables. So yeah, tables are useful for me as a developer. I want this, like maybe functional consultants want this because they want to go to SE16. So there is nothing here. There is
No
just
way. I
technical
mean,
information.
if I'm like
Yeah.
Susie, the director of accounting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, forget it. I can't
Yeah.
get help. There's
Yeah.
no way I got help.
Yeah, and even like SAP Help, Business One,
No.
why Internation is Business One like the first that comes up in any SAP search? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like how is this happening? Nobody cares about Business One. Just take it off your Google crawler or whatever. And yeah, and then of course like garbage from some ERP or some kind of third party crap. So all right, so basically I don't know, either it does not exist or it's just impossible to find, but that's kind of a story.
Yeah.
So and finally my bonus is this very recent article, your generative AI project
Oh, I
is
gotta
going to
read that
fail.
one. Oh man.
Yeah. And I like this, that fueled by vibes and with stars in their eyes, enterprises are not taking the time to understand generative AI's limitations and to create their own rules-based approach. That pretty much summarizes, I think, this article. And I thought it was just pretty well written and
Beautiful.
at least
Beautiful.
worth reading. So I totally can give Paul to you if you read it and find it's worthy of your own story. Please feel free. Otherwise, it will remain as just a bonus content for
maybe I'll pass it
reviewers.
along to the people that I'm working with projects
Mm.
on right now with generative AI.
just to read.
Just like maybe set expectations, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
that's our kind of five five stories and one potential story or bonus. And again, if you would like to read the stories in the newsletter, please subscribe. If you want to view more of this fun and relaxed conversations, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also follow us on social media where we post updates regularly. All right. Thank you, everyone. And
Bye,
we'll
guys.
see you next time. Bye.